Welcome back to Insightful Gaming, your reliable hub for all news related to Destiny. In today's episode, we're shedding light on a recent interactive session conducted by the official Destiny 2 team. This session was dedicated to resolving your most pressing queries about the game's Sandbox modifications. If you find value in today's Destiny news roundup, I'd appreciate it if you could hit the like button, drop a comment sharing your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for a steady stream of gaming news and content. Now, without further ado, let's dive in. Not long ago, the Destiny 2 team put out a request asking you to share your most pressing concerns and questions related to different facets of the game, from abilities to build crafting to weaponry and beyond. The response was formidable, with the Destiny 2 community rallying to voice their ideas, worries, and recommendations. As a result, armed with a rich tapestry of your input, the team has now returned with clarifications to some of the most recurrent questions. Before we deep dive into the nitty-gritty details, it's worth noting that this session is part of a larger scheme by Bungie. The studio has plans in the pipeline to release standalone developer insight blog posts in the future, promising a similar level of detailed content. Therefore, stay alert for these insightful looks into the core workings of the game. Now, let's dive in. Bungie's response to whether they think abilities are available too often in PvE. Even after making some adjustments, Bungie thinks about and checks this part of the game often, and will keep making adjustments as needed. They want to make sure using these special abilities is exciting and doesn't become too common or expected. Question about if the wait time to use Tangles is too long, especially since some aspects, armor mods, and artifact perks depend on players being able to use them often. Bungie once tried a much shorter wait time for using Tangles during development, but it made battles too hectic. They don't plan on making the wait that short again, but understand that players can get frustrated. So, in Season 22, players can expect to wait 12 seconds instead of 15 to use Tangles again. Question about Broodweavers seeming not very powerful, especially compared to Suspend in tough content. Bungie plans to increase the damage done by Broodweavers minions, called Threadlings, against PvE targets and reduce how often and how long Suspend can be used in PvE in Season 22. They also plan to change the new Strand aspect, the Wanderer, based on feedback about its power level. Question about how Bungie feels about the current variety of grenades. Bungie wants all grenades to be useful but realizes some fit better in certain situations or modes. They want to avoid a situation where one type of grenade becomes the best option for many different scenarios. In Season 22, they plan to make small adjustments to the availability of a few grenades that aren't performing as well. They will continue to check and adjust overpowered and underperforming options to keep the game balanced. A question that stood out was on the potential for hand cannons to get a buff, though not necessarily to Shadowkeep levels. The weapons team clarified that the hand cannons have gone through multiple revisions over the years. They highlighted that in the current PvE scenario, the damage per crit is roughly the same as during the pre-Shadowkeep phase, with almost double the body damage. Returning to Shadowkeep numbers would result in a significant nerf for those who miss a crit, which isn't their plan. They noted the difficulty hand cannons face in finding a niche in PvE due to factors like reload speed and limited magazine size. In light of these challenges, hand cannons got a damage boost of 20% in the Season 20 mid-season update, though the team felt it wasn't enough. They are now exploring further improvements like increased reload speed and damage against both minor and major enemies. Specific hand cannons that have been lagging will be considered during this enhancement process. In response to concerns about the current state of kinetic weapons, lagging as builds become more complex, the team acknowledged the issue. They hinted at a new kinetic subclass while also revealing plans for more strand and stasis weapons in the kinetic slot. When asked about the condition of Glaives, the team confirmed that significant tuning is in the works for the upcoming season, primarily for improved PvP use. There's also discontent with the state of class-specific exotic Glaives, so players can expect major modifications in this area. In terms of the nerfing and buffing process, the team dismissed the notion that Bungie balances based on usage alone. Instead, they explained that their decisions come from multiple sources, including internal feedback from playtesting, live feedback from players, weapon usage stats, weapon effectiveness, and design analysis. And finally, in response to questions about the future of exotic tuning, the team shared some upcoming changes for Season 22. Here's what they had to say about how nerfs and buffs are determined and the considerations for exotic tuning. Addressing the question of how weapons are selected for nerfs and buffs, the team clarified that the common belief of Bungie balances based on usage is not entirely accurate. Yes, if a weapon is overused, it often indicates that it's powerful and user-friendly, but this is just one of several factors taken into account. In actuality, the Bungie team relies on 5 primary sources to determine which weapons should be evaluated. internal feedback from rigorous playtesting, designers typically engage in approximately 10 hours of playtests weekly. First, feedback from the live game drawn from their own gameplay experiences. Second, let feedback from the player community. Third, analysis of weapon usage, particularly amongst owners, to avoid overlooking low ownership weapons. Fourth, an assessment of weapon effectiveness based on metrics like kills per time equipped and win rate. And finally, once they compile a list of weapons to examine, they pinpoint the issues contributing to imbalance. Sometimes it's inherent to the weapon, in which case they will adjust it directly. In other instances, it could be a specific perk combo, the overarching weapon type, or even the lack of competitive options that are the root of the problem. Also noteworthy is the fact that the criteria for weapon evaluation can vary with the seasonal focus. If a weapon type is highly represented in the seasonal artifact, or if new or reprised weapons are introduced, the team will delve into those specific weapons to ensure they harmonize with the seasonal direction. Next, the team touched upon future plans for exotic tuning. With Season 21 just shipped, Season 22 completed, Season 23 in full production, and the final shape entering early production, they revealed a few modifications set for Season 22. Changes included PvP nerf to Monarch, a buff to Touch of Malice, minor tweaks to other exotics, and adjustments to some legendary perks. They've also prepared for the introduction of an exotic catalyst for an older weapon. For exotic tuning, the team scrutinizes over or underperforming weapons and notably reviews the 20 least used exotic weapons each season. Next up, let's talk about the exotic armor balance, recent changes, and future plans. Addressing concerns about exotic armor buffs, the Bungie team acknowledged that there's an array of existing exotic armors they'd like to see more active in the game's sandbox. At the same time, they feel some pieces remain a tad too strong. Therefore, they intend to continue adjusting exotic armor incrementally, with the next wave of changes set to roll out in Season 22. When asked about the recent changes to Stompy, the team explained their goal of balancing this piece's exceptional neutral game benefits, especially evident in PvP. Stompy is particularly powerful due to the unique Hunter Jump feature, which enables rapid in-air direction changes, making targeting a Hunter player exceedingly difficult. The intention behind the modification was to introduce a slight downtime each time a player uses their dodge, adding a strategic aspect to the armor's use. However, the team assured they will continue to observe Stompy performance and implement further changes if necessary. On the topic of exotic armor and weapon interactions, similar to the relationship between Necrotic Grip and the Weapons of Sorrow, the team showed enthusiasm for adding more of these connections. They believe these interactions are best when they remain rare and somewhat obscured. While promising more of these special connections in the future, the team especially highlighted plans for Hunters and Titans. So, stay tuned. Lastly, regarding the return of pre-Lightfall armor mods, the team emphasized they're closely monitoring the performance and reception of the current armor mod system. Their goal is to keep the base armor mods simple and approachable, serving as the backbone of your build rather than the highlight. The team is excited to explore unique interactions with Orbs of Power, Armor Charge, and other armor mod systems, intending to incorporate these elements via the seasonal artifact. That's it for today. Let me know in the comments what you think about the upcoming changes. Don't forget to smash that like button, drop comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more exhilarating builds and gaming content. Thanks for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your week.